Spring has sprung. At least I hope it's staying and it's sprung. And I hope it's spring in your area. March 20th was the first day of spring, and I always assume it will stick. You got to think positive. Hi, my friend. I'm Pat Sloan. So we're going to look at all the quilt-alongs and then going to tour around some things I've been doing. Anyways, here we go. Let's do the Socialites first. So here is the block for this week. Next week, I will put the blocks up that I've done so far onto my design wall so we can see them all together. I'm doing the 9-inch size, and I'm using a fabric called Rosie from my friend Joanna Figueroa of Fig Tree. And you will be seeing these in the Fat Quarter Shop's posts because I'm doing the 9-inch version of their 3 sizes that they're doing. Kimberly's doing 6 and Gina Tell is doing the 3-inch. You can go to both Gina's YouTube and the Fat Quarter Shop's YouTube and see how to sew it. Now I want to show you again what the layout is for Socialites. Okay, so here is the layout, and you'll get the setting for this at the end. But there are 2 other, this is Socialites number 3. There are 2 other Socialites, and they had layouts, and they had 3, 6, and 9-inch. So if you are looking to do a layout now, you don't want to wait, you want to sew it as you go, you could go look at some of the prior ones. Also interesting, in our group the other day, somebody shared that they didn't do the heart, because remember the heart came out on Friday. So they didn't do the heart block because it didn't work for their particular fabric they were using. They just didn't want to put that in. So what they did is they went back to the Fat Quarter Shop and looked at Socialites blocks 1 and 2 that are out there and picked an alternate block from one of those. So that's a great idea if that happens to you and you want to make a little change. Do what works for you. So before we do the other things, let's take a look around some stuff I was doing this week. Let's start here. I'm working on wrapping all the floss. So here are the DMCs that I bought, the whole kit of them already printed, which is really fabulous. And sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should have just done that for the color works and the weeks. But instead, I got stickers, and I'm using these heart-shaped because they're just so pretty. The bobbins, heart-shaped bobbins. And then there's a sticker on there for the that's the weeks. So I'm working on the colors, and it turns out I had some floss that was a silk in Colorworks that I got a long time ago. So I just realized this morning I had blank stickers. I bought some blanks, and so I think I will use that. Although I'm debating whether I need to have a different kind of a spool, but I don't think so, to put them on. So I've laid out, I have to get the blue, and here's the weeks, and I will go into, see, I have the Colorworks, and then this one are the stickers for weeks, and that's all pre-printed, so I just look for them, and that makes it just a lot easier and tidier. I'm not such a great tidy writer, so I really like having them pre-printed. Okay, so this is something I'm working on. I don't have a ton of floss, but taking them off and putting them on the things takes a little bit of time. So these are extras where I actually had dupes, so I need to watch that now because I guess some colors are really popular. So they came in kits and I got duplicates, so I gotta stop doing that, checking first. And then onto the orange. Yeah, so just like fabric, by color, just like fabric. Okay, so let's look at the fabric. I did some clearing out. I emptied fabric to go to charity that has not been used, and I put, which I haven't done yet, but this is what I'm going with for the bee. That's going to look so cute. But now I can use this basket as kind of a staging basket, so it's not sitting on top of my counter. And then that one is empty, and these are all loosened up. I used to have 2 bins of green, now I have 1. These 3 were all red, now I just have 2 with red. And the other place that I worked on was what's not the bottom one, because that's like supplies, like mini iron and sprays and stuff. And then this is a project, and then 1, 2, 3 I emptied and moved, so they're kind of things to show in the future and That's particular Heather, those are Heather Ross fabrics that I just put them all together. All right, now over here, I am actually going to sew all of the Silver Lake, all the rows. Even though it'll be a week sooner, I will do that because if I'm going to get on a roll, I'm just not going to leave the last row and not do it. So I will sew that. The other thing is the scrappy sampler from Wendy's book with the snail and the kitties. I have the borders, and then I'm going to make binding by scrappy binding with these fabrics, these peachy reds from the line. So I've got to cut all of that. All right, one more thing. I also worked through bins. I had actually some of these blue ones that at the time when I started this a few days ago were empty. So now I moved things out of here, and that gave me a working bin. And probably like for when the state project starts, I will get working things into its own bin down here. And then this is something that needs binding. This is the Make-A-Wish quilt because I have to work ahead. Okay, I have this little side project. I've talked about it not recently, but it's with the mushroom fabrics that all of you sent me way back, and I'm making these little canning jars. And a lot of the mushrooms were sort of like this. There was a group of them that were very traditional, and then I was sorting around things and I found some more of the whimsical ones, so I'm going to trade out. So there's one here, and there might be a couple more to trade out, some of the more traditional to some of these more whimsical, because I only can do so many. I'm going to do so many jars. The other problem is that I didn't cut enough of the black and white, so I need to do that. I need to get the black and whites, more of them, cut enough for everything that's going on. I've actually sewed almost everything I can. See, these are all sewn on here. I have to press them. I did press these, which are the top blue part here, but I haven't trimmed behind. So it's kind of what I'm doing while I'm sewing other things. And let's see, we'll come around, and I've been working, I leave this out, and now I can put it in that drawer, in that basket underneath too. But I'm working on the red house, which for those of you who have not seen that, Wendy Shepherd and I are doing this together just as we can, and sort of keeping each other on track, because we also stitch other things and make other things, so, and do other things in life. Especially me, that are not sewing and not this. Okay, so I'm working to get this right side done, because like part of this is like a separate piece of paper and the other part is all in one piece of paper. So I want to get this piece of paper gone. I also like to stitch from bottom up. That's just what works best for me. And yeah, there I go. I'm going to use this to go to sew with my friends today. Actually, I'm going to cross stitch. I just want something portable, and I have cross stitch in here, the old one of the old projects, and then I'm going to see what I can have in here that I can put in this case that I got, that little case that goes with it. And I had gotten these little decorations. They look cute, huh? Fun. If you've not seen the wall of quilts in a while, it is full, and it is full of things that is still too much, but it's what I'm actually changing out and decorating with for the most part. This is stuff, working stuff that needs binding, whatever. That's some tops. But like I have way too much Christmas. 4 shells of Christmas, which is more than I can hang. And fall is basically all up here, fall and Halloween. So as I get closer to those seasons this year, I will curate out pieces that'll go to new homes. Now I want to show you a couple pictures. Here, the first one is this stack of fabric on my ironing board. I was going through the fabric that I have because there's just a lot of older fabric that I'm just not going to use. and I needed to reduce it down because there's a charity group here locally. Plus, my friend Kathy, who's up in Maryland, she takes things for other charity groups, and they actually sew it and use it up and make charity quilts, which I think is fabulous. And I will show you this second picture. Locally, my friend Jean runs the charity group for the Quilters Unlimited Guild. And she shared this picture with me because it is a stack of quilts. They make the quilts or get the quilts donated. They wash them so they're nice and clean, and they don't have any, you know, any residue on them or animal hair or whatever, people hair. And they wash them, and then one of the places they take them is an infusion center. And she shared this photo with me and said that normally she doesn't get to meet the people picking. They tell the infusion center people they can pick a quilt, and she was able to be there the one day, and the lady selected my quilt out of the stack, and she was there with her husband, and it was one of the little bit larger quilts, and they were very thrilled. It had birds on it, and it was with my birdsong fabric, so a lot of little critters, and the lady was just thrilled. And so that just made my heart super happy to be able to know that that quilt was actually going to go and be used and to comfort somebody. And the husband, her husband was like, you know, she lays on the couch a lot right now, and so this will be really, really sweet and wonderful for her. So I wanted to share with you that these things do go to people at times, and sometimes we get to hear about it. Okay, let's talk about the Silver Lake behind me. Whoops, I'm stepping on the cord. Okay, there we go. It is, I had to sew all the rows, but it's very long. And so my stand right there doesn't go up any higher. It's broke, and that's all the higher it goes. But you can see down to the bottom where I've got one row puddled underneath, which is next week's row. But there it is together. This is the size, what we're doing, I'm doing the size exactly as the museum's quilt. So there's no sashing. The pattern is written just like the museum quilt. I am not putting any little outer border on it at all, because this will go to the museum and they can use it as they want. They might use it for education. They may eventually raffle it, but it'll be theirs to work with and do what works for them in having this piece that is a reproduction. It's also in the Blue Mill fabric, which is the museum's fabric line that I helped design. There we go for the scrappy quilt. Oh my gosh, doesn't it look great? I've got all the borders on it. It's getting washed out at the top there. Hold on, let me see if I put the other light on. Had to get the other camera. Look at this. Doesn't it look great? This border is so fantastic. Now, Wendy is going to be showing hers, and she opted to not put the border on so that you could see what that looks like. It is so fabulous. I do have to do the backing and some binding for it, and then I can get it quilted. And the last thing I want to do is wrap up that the next quilt along that we'll have with the Blue Mill fabric, and of course you could use your own fabric, but there's a kit, and the picture is here on the right of the Good Company. Now the Fat Quarter Shop names the kits a certain name that's not the same as the pattern name, and so there'll be a link to the kit and a link to the pattern name. And for those of you who like a limited number of fabrics to work with, this is the kit for you. So if you want one, you better grab it. And we will start in a couple of weeks. That'll give you a chance to order it and have the kit in if you didn't do it already. Also, I just need a little mental break. I've got, like I said, I have a lot of things with family going on, and so this will be nice. And next week I will have a date. I will come up with a date that we will start this. I just didn't do that for this video. Okay, my friend, we have lots of good things, and I can't wait to see your photos. Share them in Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. Remember, it's where it says official, and it has my name, and I'm the admin. My husband Greg's the admin. My friends are the admins, or moderators, however you want to look. You can check all that, but it says official, and that's the one you should be in, and not the one that doesn't have my picture in the banner and doesn't have me as the group owner. That is somebody who put one out 10 years ago, and we don't know what that's about, but don't go there. Okay, all right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.